I'm Dr. Jerri Lynn Hogg. I'm a media psychologist. So that means I look at how media and technology influence our lives and how we make meaning and how we connect with people. I've always been really interested both in technology and science and in how we as humans interact. And it took me a long time to really see that connection, and media psychology is where I found a home. It in itself is very interdisciplinary. Well, it started in a really interesting way. The zeitgeist is I've been on a research team for young children, 2-year-olds, toddlers, in Ireland, Northern Ireland. And we've been doing research for about 8 years. It came out of a media initiative from Ireland and early years. We have a psychiatrist and psychologist and occupational therapists here in the United States, as well as people from early years and also caretakers and teachers of toddlers in Ireland, Northern Ireland. So we've been doing research for quite some time, and so far the initial results of the research are showing that it's really supporting the young children. The whole idea is going into high conflict areas, and by supporting the children, teaching them to see and understand the other and embrace that, we hope that maybe that will de-escalate in these high conflict areas. So we had the opportunity in September of 2023 to present our research at the United Nations. So I was sharing that with some Sofia University colleagues, and they're like, that sounds like a great panel. So that was the zeitgeist. I did bring on a whole variety of perspectives. So a clinical psychologist, a developmental behaviorist, as well as Dr. Rizzo really has clinical, he's got media, he has a variety of things, and I'm a media psychologist, and Dr. Rizzo is a psychologist as well. So that idea that we could pull from these different perspectives and actually how they're using that. So Dr. Jessica, she works with neurodivergence, and so she really talked about children and how we can support them and their families from a neurodivergent perspective. And then we talked with Dr. Mary Alvord, who has over 40 years of work, very large 3-office practice working with children and adolescents, but always bringing research-based evidence and using research out of her practice, and she's embraced technology. So for example, at one point I was working with Dr. Alvord about using virtual reality, and the highest phobia for children are bees and bee stings and that whole idea. And so if we could use virtual reality to simulate that, we could possibly get them to be in a little bit more comfort zone and work with a bee appropriately and not have as high an anxiety from that situation. So, and I'm, as I said, a media psychologist, so being able to put that all together in hopefully a way that had meaningful education for people that are attending the conference, but even more so inspired them in how they might be able to take their research and interest in a positive direction. So I think it's critical, and I think it's critical. We have a tendency to think of things in a very segmented way. So we think of psychology or mental health as something that needs to happen in a clinician's office or in a very specific way. I think we really need to understand human behavior in everything we do. Certainly with technology design, we need to understand how people use it, how we can use it for good, and buffer for areas where there might be some disadvantage. I do think that we need to think of mental health and think of mental well-being and what kinds of things that we can just naturally incorporate into our day. And it's great to hear from so many different perspectives here at the conference and the different work that they're doing so that we can understand how we can be our best selves.